In the year 2350, the Galactic Empire ruled over hundreds of planets across the Milky Way. Many alien species lived under its control, but none were more resilient than humanity. The human race had expanded its reach among the stars, establishing colonies and thriving on new worlds. As time passed, 5 brilliant women rose to power, becoming renowned generals of the United Earth Forces. Their names were General Arya, General Lila, General Tessa, General Mira, and General Jade. These 5 generals were known as the Star Warriors. They had gained victories through clever strategies, bravery, and unwavering unity. Their fighting spirit inspired humanity, and they became symbols of hope against the Galactic Empire's oppressive rule. The Empire did not take lightly to these women who dared to challenge their authority. One bright morning, a shadow fell over the Earth's capital, Vasta City. A message transmitted across the galaxy warned that a Galactic Empire fleet was on its way. The leader of the Empire, Emperor Zartan, had grown weary of the Star Warriors and decided to eliminate them. "Today, we rid ourselves of these women," Zartan declared with a sneer in his voice. "They will serve as an example to all who dare oppose us." As the generals gathered in their war room, the atmosphere was tense. Maps of star systems and tactical plans covered the walls. General Arya, the strongest among them, stood up. Her dark hair framed her determined face. "We can't let fear paralyze us. We will fight back." The other generals nodded in agreement. General Lila's green eyes flashed with resolve. "Let's gather the troops. The Empire will not silence us." They worked through the night, preparing their forces and strategizing. Each general led their own divisions. General Tessa was known for her intelligence and technology. She managed the fleets with precision. General Mira commanded ground forces with fierce loyalty, while General Jade was famous for innovative combat techniques. However, unbeknownst to them, Zarthan's ships were already approaching Earth. The Empire had a secret weapon, a powerful energy beam that could wipe out any target on a planet's surface. On the day of the attack, the sky darkened as the fleet descended through the clouds. Panic spread among the citizens of Vasta City. Alarms blared, and people rushed into shelters. The Star Warriors were ready to fight back. The generals took their places in the command center, knowing this battle would decide the fate of humanity. "Prepare the fleet," General Tessa shouted. The room erupted in activity as soldiers hurried to their stations. They launched their ships into space, ready to engage the powerful Emperor's fleet. The sky filled with explosions as both fleets clashed. The Star Warriors fought bravely, but were outnumbered. General Mira led her ground forces to defend the city, while General Lila established communication with their allies. However, Zarthan had one final pivot. The energy beam activated, and a bright flash lit up the sky. The beam struck down on Vasta City. The ground shook, and buildings crumbled, but the blast was aimed directly at the generals, decimating their last line of defense. The air was thick with smoke and debris. When the chaos settled, the Galactic Empire had killed the 5 human women generals. The news spread quickly through the ranks of humanity. The loss of the Star Warriors shattered their hearts, igniting deep anger and sorrow among the people. In the hours following the attack, a solemn shadow fell over mankind. However, a few brave soldiers remained. Captain Leo, a young but skilled warrior, stood among the survivors. He was inspired by the courage of the 5 generals and felt a fire ignite within him. "We cannot let our leaders die in vain," he shouted, rallying the remaining forces. "We will declare galactic war against the Empire. We will take back our home." The soldiers joined Captain Leo, their faces shining with determination. A message was sent across the galaxy, uniting the surviving forces of humanity. The cry for vengeance echoed, and people stood up from their hiding places. They were ready to fight back against the Galactic Empire. Days turned to weeks, and soon humanity had organized a vast coalition ready for war. Captain Leo was appointed the new leader. Under his guidance, they began to strategize for their great counterattack. Ships were repaired, and new fighters trained. Each day brought a stronger resolve, with memories of the Star Warriors fueling their bravery. Meanwhile, Emperor Zarthan was unaware of how humanity had united. He confidently overlooked the rebellion, thinking it had been crushed. His officers lounged in the comfort of their ships, underestimating the strength of human resilience. On the day of the counterattack, Captain Leo led the fleet into the heart of Galactic Empire territory. The warrior spirit evoked feelings of despair mixed with hope. They approached the colossal enemy's ships, determined to take revenge for their fallen generals. As they began the fight, the determination of humanity shone through. Explosions rocked the enemy vessels. The pilot squadrons, inspired by their fallen leaders, executed attacking maneuvers flawlessly. Captain Leo's ship led the charge, rallying fighters all around him. Caught off guard, the Empire struggled to respond effectively. Each attack felt like a tribute to the Star Warriors, each explosion a tribute to their spirit. Through the fog of war, Captain Leo emerged as a beacon of hope, a symbol of the fight for freedom. The tides of battle changed in favor of humans as they persevered. The message had reached every colony. They joined the war effort, sending reinforcements to bolster the fractured forces of humanity. They were no longer just warriors. They were brothers and sisters fighting for a common cause. In a final bid to crush the rebellion, Zartan descended into the battlefield with his elite guards. He thought to destroy Captain Leo personally. But in a fierce one-on-one confrontation, Leo remembered the values instilled by the Star Warriors. Their spirits guided him, and with one determined strike, he toppled the Emperor. As Zartan fell, the remaining fleet of the Galactic Empire began to withdraw. They had lost their leader and their confidence. Humanity hailed the victory not just of themselves, but as a tribute to the 5 generals who had given their all. Captain Leo stood at the helm, looking up into the stars that were once filled with fear, now filled with hope. He began to speak. Today, we honor General Arya, General Lila, General Tessa, General Mira, and General Jade. Their sacrifice will never be forgotten. From that day forward, the tales of the Star Warriors would live on, reminding humanity that even in the darkest hour, courage and unity could light the way to victory across the galaxy. In the year 2342, humanity stood as a beacon of innovation and resilience in a galaxy teeming with diverse species and sprawling empires. The Galactic Council, an assembly of the most influential civilizations, maintained a fragile peace. Among its members was the formidable Zargonian Empire, known for its military might and ruthless ambition. Relations between humanity and the Zargonians had always been strained. The Zargonians viewed humans as upstarts, rapidly expanding and challenging their dominance. Despite the tensions, 5 human women, generals Ava, Lena, Maya, Chloe, and Zoe, were instrumental in maintaining a delicate balance. Each was a master strategist, a skilled diplomat, and a symbol of human strength. Ava, the eldest, was a veteran of countless campaigns, her tactical genius legendary. Lena, the master of technological warfare, always stayed a step ahead of her enemies. Maya, a brilliant negotiator, had a knack for forging alliances and defusing conflicts. Chloe, a fearless leader, inspired her troops to fight beyond their limits. Zoe, the youngest, possessed an uncanny ability to predict her opponent's moves. One fateful day, the 5 generals were summoned to a neutral space station for a peace summit with the Zargonia High Command. The summit was supposedly to address escalating border disputes and trade disagreements. But as their ship docked, it was ambushed. Zargonian warships emerged from the shadows, lasers blazing. The human vessel stood little chance. Within minutes, it was reduced to space dust. All 5 generals were killed. News of the massacre sent shockwaves through human space. Grief quickly turned to outrage. The Galactic Council called for an investigation, but the Zargonians denied involvement, claiming rogue elements were responsible. Few believed them. Evidence soon surfaced, leaked by a Zargonian whistleblower, proving the attack had been authorized by the highest levels of the Zargonian Empire. The human population demanded justice. Protests erupted on every planet, every space station. The Human Federation Council, the governing body of humanity, faced immense pressure. After days of deliberation, they reached a grim conclusion. Diplomacy had failed. The only option left was war. On the steps of the Federation headquarters on Earth, Commander Alex, a charismatic and respected leader, addressed the masses. The Zargonians have shown us their true face, he declared, his voice resonating with grief and anger. They have murdered our finest, betrayed our trust, and spat upon our values. We will not stand for it. We will not rest until justice is served. Today, we declare war on the Zargonian Empire. The declaration was met with thunderous applause. The human fleet mobilized, warships emerging from shipyards across human space. The Zargonians, confident in their superior military might, scoffed at the declaration. They had crushed rebellions before. They believed humanity would be no different. The first battles were fierce. Human pilots, fueled by rage and grief, fought with unmatched ferocity. They used their advanced technology and innovative tactics to inflict heavy losses on the Zargonian fleet. Commander Alex proved to be a brilliant strategist, outmaneuvering the Zargonians at every turn. As the war raged, humanity sought allies. Maya's past diplomatic efforts paid off. Several smaller civilizations, weary of Zargonian aggression, joined the human cause. The combined forces formed a formidable alliance, challenging the Zargonian Empire's dominance. The tide began to turn. Human and allied forces liberated planet after planet, pushing deeper into Zargonian territory. The Zargonian Emperor, once arrogant and dismissive, grew increasingly desperate. He unleashed new weapons, new tactics, but humanity adapted, overcame, and continued to advance. The war reached its climax at the Battle of Zargon Prime, the Zargonian homeworld. The battle was the largest in galactic history, a maelstrom of fire and metal. Commander Alex led the human fleet, his flagship spearheading the assault. The Zargonian fleet fought with fanatical devotion, defending their home at all costs. In the heat of battle, Alex came face to face with the Zargonian Grand Admiral, the mastermind behind the assassination of the 5 generals. Their ships clashed, lasers tearing through shields. Alex, driven by a thirst for vengeance, fought with unparalleled skill. He disabled the Admiral's ship, then personally boarded it, confronting the Admiral in a tense standoff. "You murdered 5 of our best," Alex said, his voice cold. "You thought you could crush us, intimidate us. You were wrong. Humanity is weak," the Admiral spat. "We will crush you all." "No," Alex replied. "You will be held accountable." With a swift move, Alex ended the Admiral's life. The death of the Admiral demoralized the Zargonian forces. The human and allied fleets pressed their advantage, breaking through the Zargonian defenses and landing troops on Zargon Prime. The Zargonian Emperor, realizing the war was lost, offered an unconditional surrender. He was brought before the Galactic Council to answer for his crimes. The Council, now firmly on humanity's side, condemned him and stripped the Zargonian Empire of much of its territory and military power. The war had ended, but the scars remained. Millions had died. Countless worlds had been ravaged. Humanity had proven its strength, its resilience, but also its capacity for vengeance. Commander Alex, hailed as a hero, addressed the Human Federation Council. "We have won the war," he said, "but victory comes at a cost. We must not let this happen again. We must strive for peace, for understanding. We must honor the memory of those we lost by building a better future." In the aftermath of the war, humanity emerged as a major power in the galaxy. They used their newfound influence to promote diplomacy, cooperation, and justice. The memory of Ava, Lena, Maya, Chloe, and Zoe lived on, inspiring generations to come. Their sacrifice had not been in vain. It had paved the way for a more peaceful, more just galaxy. In the year 2345, humanity had spread beyond Earth, establishing colonies on distant planets. The United Human Federation, composed of Earth's strongest nations, worked together to ensure peace and prosperity for their people among the stars. However, peace was fragile, as it was threatened by a powerful force known as the Galactic Empire. The Empire was a vast, ruthless organization made up of various alien species. They sought to dominate the galaxy, and they viewed humanity as a significant obstacle. To maintain their control, the Empire often used force to eliminate anyone who stood in their way. Among the many talented leaders in the United Human Federation, 5 brilliant women generals had risen through the ranks, proving their mettle in battles across the galaxy. General Ilera was the youngest of the five, known for her quick thinking and sharp intuition. She had become a star in the Federation. Then there was General Mira, a seasoned warrior with a strong sense of duty. Next was General Talia, a master strategist who could turn the tide in the most hopeless situations. General Kira was a brilliant pilot, always leading her squadron in daring missions. And lastly, General Leora, known for her exceptional diplomacy skills and deep understanding of the Empire's tactics. One day, the five generals received an urgent message from their superiors. The Galactic Empire had expanded into new territories, and they were gathering their forces for an attack. The Federation's leaders believed the Empire aimed to destroy the five generals as a demonstration of power. Determined to prove they would not back down, the five generals gathered at the headquarters of a united human federation. They spent hours discussing tactics and planning their next move. They knew they needed to be prepared for whatever the Empire threw at them. As the days passed, the tension in the air grew thick. Citizens of the Federation held their breath, hoping the brilliant minds of their leaders would outsmart the Empire. However, news broke one fateful evening that shook everyone to their core. The Galactic Empire had launched a surprise attack on one of the Federation's outposts, killing two of the five talented generals, Talia and Kira. The remaining generals were heartbroken but resolute. Ilera, Mira, and Leora met again in a secure chamber filled with holographic displays. "We can't let their sacrifices be in vain," Ilera said fiercely. Mira nodded solemnly. "We need to strike back, but we need a plan. They outnumber us." Leora, usually the calm voice during their discussions, looked upset. "We need to unify all planets under the Federation's flag. The Empire wishes to separate us and make us weak." The other two generals listened carefully, realizing the truth in Leora's words. They could not let their divisions hinder their ability to fight. Working tirelessly, they gathered forces from each of the Federation's planets. Every soldier knew they were fighting for their fallen comrades and their families. The people were rallying behind their generals, making sacrifices for the defense of humanity. As they prepared, a sense of unity began to bloom among the civilians, fueling the fire for battle. Days turned into weeks as the three remaining generals spread their message. They inspired bravery in young recruits, brought old soldiers out of retirement, and convinced terrified colonies to join their cause. The Federation's army grew stronger, and the belief that they could defeat the Empire grew louder. Finally, the day came for them to confront the Empire. They set their sights on Takara, the Empire's main planet, home to the elite troops that had killed Talia and Kira. From the command ship, Ilera gazed out at the vast stars stretching out before them. "This is it," she said. "For Talia, for Kira, and for all of humanity." With a fleet of ships behind them, Ilera, Mira, and Leora led their forces into battle. The expanse of space filled with fierce dogfights as the ships darted around one another, missiles spiraling through the abyss. The combat was intense. Brilliant lights erupted in the blackness as the forces clashed. Tensions rose as the Galactic Empire's fleets responded, retaliating with overwhelming strength. But the Federation's soldiers fought with determination. They could feel the spirit of their fallen generals guiding them, pushing them to victory at every turn. In the heat of battle, Ilera piloted her ship toward the Empire's flagship, determined to end the war. As she flew, she spotted Mira and Leora engaging nearby, their ships dancing gracefully in the chaos. Suddenly, an explosion rocked Ilera's vessel. Warning lights flashed and alarms blared. She knew she had to land. With quick reflexes, Ilera steadied her ship and prepared for emergency landing on the flagship. She bolted out of the cockpit, rushing through the dark corridors, wearing her thoughts of her fallen comrades like armor. Containing her fear, she heard voices up ahead. Ilera burst into the room, filled with Empire commanders gathered around a table. "This ends now," she shouted, raising her blaster. The commanders stared at her, surprise etched on their faces. "You've killed my friends, but we will not be silenced." Outnumbered, Ilera fought valiantly, but soon the commanders overwhelmed her. Just as she felt despair, Mira and Leora charged into the room, blasting away at the enemy. Together, they fought ferociously, side by side, igniting something unstoppable within their hearts. With her comrades' help, Alara stood tall. Each moment of struggle only fueled their rage at the Empire's tyranny. Through teamwork and determination, they pushed back, taking control of the ship. "This is for everyone you hurt," Mira yelled as they destroyed the command center, igniting a spark of chaos among the Empire's forces. Word spread quickly through the battle that the flagship was compromised. The Empire's troops began to falter, making way for the Federation's counterattack. As battles raged on for long hours, hope ignited across the galaxy as humanity united against their oppressors. The tide of battle had turned. The Galactic Empire had underestimated the strength of humanity's spirit. Through loss, sacrifice, and unyielding belief, the Federation emerged triumphant at the end of the war. Though the scars of battle would linger, the memory of Talia and Kira lived on in every soldier's heart. World began to reconnect, forming a stronger alliance. The tale of the 5 women generals became legendary, a reminder of unity, courage, and the enduring fight for freedom among the stars.